My sister's wedding reception. I gave my name, but the staff frowned. I'm sorry, you're not listed. Stunned, I turned to my mother. She scoffed. What made you think you'd be welcome? Outsiders don't belong. I forced a steady smile. Fine, I'll embrace being an outsider. And I left. But as the ceremony began, my mother's phone buzzed relentlessly. The salt-laced Monterey air stung my face as I stood on the manicured lawn of the cliffside estate, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. Security guards flanked me, their grips bruising my arms as they dragged me toward the wrought iron gates. A crowd of impeccably dressed guests, Monterey's elite, dripping in diamonds and tailored suits, watched, with a mix of curiosity and disdain. My emerald gown, chosen to complement my sister Olivia's wedding colors, shimmered under the golden California sun, but it felt like a costume now, mocking my naivety. You're not on the list, ma'am, one guard barked, his voice cutting through the murmurs. No uninvited guests allowed. I'm Emily Carter, 29, creative director at one of San Francisco's top advertising firms, and, until this moment, I believed I was my sister's family. I'd designed every detail of this wedding, the invitations embossed with gold foil, the LED displays flashing Olivia's monogram, the menus that took me 3 weeks to perfect. My work was everywhere, woven into the fabric of this high society spectacle, yet here I was, branded an intruder. The humiliation burned hotter than the sun overhead, but it was my mother's voice that seared me deepest. Laura Carter, Monterey's darling socialite, stepped forward, her champagne flute glinting as she fixed me with a smile sharp enough to draw blood. Emily, did you really think you belonged here? She said, loud enough for the onlookers to hear. This is Olivia's day. Strangers don't get to ruin it. Strangers. The words sliced through me, severing the fragile threads of hope I'd clung to for years. My mother, the woman who raised me, had just disowned me in front of 300 of California's most influential people. Olivia, my sister, stood on the terrace above, her white gown glowing like a beacon, laughing with her bridesmaids as if my public shaming was the day's entertainment. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but my voice caught in my throat instead. I straightened my spine, met my mother's gaze, and said, "Then I'll live like a stranger." The words tasted like ash, but they were my defiance, my promise to myself as I wrenched free from the guards and walked away, the crowd's whispers trailing me like a shadow. I didn't know it then, but that moment was the spark that would ignite a firestorm in my life. A cascade of betrayals, dangers, and revelations that would force me to confront who I was when the people I loved most saw me as nothing. As my heels sank into the gravel path, each step echoing the thud of those gates closing behind me, I felt the weight of a truth I'd been dodging for years. My family didn't just overlook me, they wanted me gone. I grew up in a Monterey that sparkled like a postcard. White sand beaches, cypress trees twisting against the Pacific, and houses with views that screamed money, even if ours was more modest. My father, David Carter, was a financial advisor who believed in quiet integrity, the kind of man who'd spend hours helping a client secure their kid's college fund. My mother, Laura, was the opposite, a charity organizer whose charm masked a relentless hunger for status. She thrived at galas, her laugh a siren call to Monterey's elite. Then there was Olivia, 3 years my senior, the golden child who inherited Laura's charisma and wielded it like a weapon. Me? I was the quiet one, the girl who found refuge in sketchbooks and paintbrushes, my world built on colors and shapes that made sense when people didn't. Dad was my anchor. Late at night, when the house was still, he'd sit with me at the kitchen table, watching me paint. "You see things differently, Emily," he'd say, his voice warm with pride. "That's your gift. Don't let anyone take it from you." Those moments were my sanctuary, a shield against Laura's indifference and Olivia's subtle jabs. Olivia was the star, prom queen, debate captain, the girl who could charm a room without trying. I didn't resent her for it, not at first. I thought her light was just brighter, that I'd find my own in time. Everything changed when I was 15. Dad was driving home from a client meeting when a drunk driver ran a red light on Highway 1. The crash was instant, brutal. I still remember the police at our door, their faces grim as Laura collapsed, screaming. Olivia clung to her, sobbing, while I stood frozen, clutching Dad's old sweater, unable to process that the one person who saw me was gone. The funeral was a blur, Laura's arm around Olivia, mourners whispering about her grace under pressure. I stood apart, holding Dad's favorite pen, a keepsake Laura tossed at me like an afterthought. "You always liked his things," she said, her voice flat. After Dad's death, the cracks in our family became chasms. Laura threw herself into Olivia's life, her sorority events, her charity pageants, her every whim. I was expected to be self-sufficient, a ghost in my own home. "You're so independent, Emily," Laura would say, not as praise but as an excuse to ignore me. Olivia's academic struggles were met with tutors and encouragement. My straight A's were met with a nod, if that. I told myself it was because Olivia needed more help, but deep down, I knew better. I was invisible unless I was useful. High school was my escape. I poured myself into art, winning a national competition at 16 with a series of portraits that captured Monterey's raw beauty. Crashing waves, weathered piers, faces etched with stories. The award came with a full scholarship to Parsons School of Design in New York, a dream I hadn't dared voice. When I told Laura, her response was a tight smile. "That's nice, Emily, but art's just a hobby. Olivia's planning a real career in event planning." Olivia, overhearing, smirked. "What, a scholarship for doodling? Guess some people get lucky." Her words stung, but I held on to Dad's voice in my head. "Your gift. Don't let anyone take it." Parsons was a revelation. New York's chaos matched my hunger to prove myself. I thrived, building a network of mentors and friends who saw my talent, not my family's shadow. By graduation, I'd landed a job at a San Francisco ad firm, crafting campaigns for tech giants and luxury brands. At 27, I was promoted to creative director, leading a team on multi-million-dollar projects. It was the kind of success that should have made Laura proud, but when I called to share the news, she cut me off. "That's great, honey, but Olivia just got engaged to Nathan Brooks. You know, the tech heir? It's the talk of Monterey." The conversation shifted to wedding plans, my achievement buried under Olivia's diamond ring. Nathan Brooks was Silicon Valley royalty, his family's fortune built on AI startups. Olivia's engagement to him was Laura's golden ticket to the elite circles she'd always chased. The wedding was set to be Monterey's event of the decade, a $2 million 0-cents extravaganza at a cliffside estate overlooking the Pacific. 300 guests, CEOs, influencers, old money, would gather to celebrate Olivia's ascent. I wanted to be happy for her, despite our strained history. Maybe, I thought, this could be a chance to rebuild. So when Olivia mentioned needing visuals for the wedding, I jumped in. I could design everything, I offered during a tense family dinner: invitations, digital displays, menus, the whole brand. It'd be my gift. Olivia exchanged a glance with Laura, then nodded. "Sure, if you think you can handle it. It needs to be high-end." What started as a gesture became an obsession. I poured my soul into the project, treating it like a campaign for a Fortune 500 client. Custom invitations with gold foil calligraphy, LED screens flashing Olivia and Nathan's monogram, embossed menus that matched the estate's coastal aesthetic. It was a $50,000 0-cents undertaking, all pro bono. I worked nights, weekends, my apartment a chaos of mock-ups and coffee cups. Laura's demands were endless. "Make the font fancier," she'd text at 2 a.m. "Nathan's mother hates silver. Use rose gold." Olivia was worse, her feedback laced with condescension. "It's fine, I guess, but can you make it less you?" I swallowed my pride, tweaking every detail, believing that perfection might finally earn me a place at their table. Danger struck a week before the wedding. I woke to find my laptop frozen, a ransomware message demanding $10,000 0 cents to unlock my files, all my wedding designs, my life's work for this event. Panic clawed at me as I realized the hack could ruin everything. I spent 48 sleepless hours working with a tech friend to restore my system, recovering the files just in time. Exhausted, I brushed it off as bad luck, but a seed of doubt took root. Was it random, or had someone targeted me? Other signs followed. Browsing the wedding website I'd built, I noticed my name was missing from the family section. Olivia, Laura, Nathan's parents, but no Emily Carter. I called Olivia, my voice tight. "There's a glitch on the site. My name's not listed." She laughed, dismissive. "Oh, weird. Must be an oversight. I'll fix it." She didn't. Then I checked the seating chart I'd designed, cross-referencing Olivia's guest list. My name wasn't there either. "You'll be busy managing visuals, right?" Olivia said when I confronted her. "We figured you wouldn't need a seat." Her tone was casual, but her words felt like a warning. Pressure mounted at work. My firm's CEO, a shark named Vanessa Klein, demanded I pitch a $10 million 0 cents campaign to a luxury car brand the same week as the wedding. "Don't screw this up, Emily," she warned. "Your drama with your family's all over social media. Prove you're still an asset." The pitch loomed like a guillotine, but I couldn't back out. I juggled late-night design revisions for Olivia with PowerPoint slides for the client, my nerves fraying like old rope. The final blow came the morning of the wedding. Driving to the venue along Highway 1, the Pacific glittering below, my car suddenly lurched. The brakes wouldn't respond. My heart seized as I swerved, tires screeching, narrowly avoiding a plunge off the cliff. I pulled over, shaking, and called a mechanic. "Your brake lines were tampered with," he said later, his voice grim. "Someone cut them." Sabotage, the word echoed in my mind. But I had no proof, no time to dwell. I rented a car and raced to the estate, determined to see my work through. I arrived 3 hours early, my bag stuffed with backup files, extra menus, and a repair kit for any last-minute fixes. The estate was a vision. White roses cascading over trellises, crystal chandeliers glinting in the ballroom. My designs were everywhere, flawless, a testament to months of sacrifice. But when I approached the coordinator, a polished woman named Claire, she frowned at her tablet. "Emily Carter, I thought you were just the vendor. Olivia didn't mention you'd be here. Vendor, not sister, not family." I forced a smile. "I'm Olivia's sister. I designed everything." "Just checking if you need me?" Claire's eyes flickered with pity. "Everything's set. Mrs. Carter, Laura, is with the bridal party upstairs." Upstairs, laughter spilled from the bridal suite. I knocked, and one of Olivia's friends, a woman I barely knew, opened the door. "Oh, Emily?" she said, surprised. Before I could speak, Laura appeared, her silk robe swishing. "What are you doing here so early?" Her tone was ice. "I'm making sure the visuals are perfect," I said, clutching my bag. Laura glanced back at the room, then stepped into the hall, closing the door. "Olivia's stressed. She doesn't need distractions. Go check the tables or something." "Distractions?" I nodded, swallowing the hurt, and turned away. As I did, Olivia's voice floated through the door. "Is she gone? I can't deal with her today." The words were a knife, twisting deeper with every step I took downstairs. In the ballroom, my pride flickered briefly. My menus gleamed on every table. My LED displays cycled through Olivia's engagement photos. But something was wrong. The fonts were different. The colors slightly off. Someone had altered my work without telling me, diluting my vision. I overheard two staff members whispering. The mother of the bride was very clear about the guest list, said to keep certain people away from the VIPs. My stomach churned. Were they talking about me? The ceremony was a blur. I sat in the back row, unacknowledged, watching Olivia glide down the aisle on Laura's arm. Laura's tears sparkled in the sunlight, a performance for the cameras. No one called me to join the family photos afterward. I stood alone on the terrace, watching Olivia pose with Nathan, Laura, and Nathan's parents, their laughter a wall I couldn't breach. When the reception began, guests lined up at the ballroom entrance, where security checked names against a digital list. I joined the line, my heart pounding. This was a mistake, I told myself. They'd clear it up. When my turn came, I smiled at the guard, a young man with a tablet. "Emily Carter." He scrolled, then scrolled again, his face tightening. "I'm sorry, ma'am, you're not on the list." The guests behind me shifted, whispering. "There's a mistake," I said, my voice steady despite the heat rising in my cheeks. "I'm the bride's sister. I designed the wedding." He shook his head. "I need to check with the coordinator." Claire appeared, her expression cold. "There's no confusion. The list was approved by the bride and Mrs. Carter. Your name isn't here." My vision blurred. "That's impossible. I'm family." Laura's shadow fell over us. She'd been summoned, her face a mask of irritation. "What's the problem?" she demanded. "Mom, they say I'm not invited," I said, clinging to the hope she'd fix this. Instead, her eyes hardened. "Did you really think you belonged here? Strangers don't get to ruin Olivia's day." The crowd gasped, phones already out, recording my disgrace. Olivia watched from the terrace, her smile cruel. I felt the ground shift beneath me. Years of subtle rejections crystallizing into this one brutal truth. I was never wanted. "And I'll live like a stranger," I said, my voice calm, though my heart was shattering. I turned, walking through the sea of stairs, my gown trailing like a wound. Behind me, Laura's voice carried. "Just a misunderstanding with a vendor. Everything's fine." Vendor. The word was a final blow, reducing me to a transaction, a service to be used and discarded. I stumbled to a stone bench by a fountain, the Pacific's roar drowning out the party's hum. My phone buzzed, texts from colleagues already seeing the viral clips of my ejection. "What happened at the wedding?" one read. Another, "Is it true you tried to crash?" Olivia had posted, framing me as the villain, her caption a dagger. "Nothing can ruin our perfect day, not even jealousy." The lies spread faster than I could process, my reputation crumbling with each share. I called Rachel Evans, my college roommate, my lifeline. "Rachel, it's Emily. They didn't let me in. I need you." Her voice was instant, fierce. "I'm coming. Stay there." As I waited, a man in a dark jacket lingered across the lawn, watching me. His stare felt deliberate, predatory. When I stood to move, he vanished into the crowd, leaving a chill in my bones. Was he one of Nathan's security, or something worse? Rachel's SUV pulled up 40 minutes later. She jumped out, pulling me into a hug. "Those monsters," she whispered. "I always hated Laura, but this is evil." In her car, I broke, sobs tearing through me like a storm. "I gave them everything," I choked out. "My designs, my time, my heart, and they threw me out like trash." Rachel's hand squeezed mine. "This isn't about you, Emily. It's about them being awful. You're enough. You've always been enough." At Rachel's Oakland apartment, I collapsed, the weight of the day crushing me. My phone lit up with notifications, Laura's texts, accusing me of disgracing the family, colleagues questioning my professionalism, clients hinting at pulling contracts. The world I'd built was unraveling, and I didn't know how to stop it. Rachel made tea, her presence a quiet anchor. "You need to fight back," she said. "Not for them, but for you." That night, unable to sleep, I replayed every moment, searching for clues I'd missed. The hacked laptop, the tampered brakes, the man by the fountain. Were they connected? And why had Laura's rejection felt so calculated, so final? I opened my laptop, pulling up the wedding website. There, buried in the code, was a note I hadn't seen before. "Keep EC out. LL's Porters." Laura's initials, proof she'd planned this all along. As dawn broke, painting the sky in bruised purples, I made a decision. I wasn't the stranger they wanted me to be. I was Emily Carter, and I'd survived worse than their betrayal. But survival wasn't enough anymore. I needed answers. About the sabotage, the lies, and the family that had cast me out. Whatever it took, I'd uncover the truth, even if it meant facing dangers I couldn't yet imagine. The wedding was over, but my fight was just beginning. The Oakland skyline glittered beyond Rachel's apartment window, a constellation of lights that felt both distant and mocking. I sat on her couch, my emerald gown discarded in a heap, replaced by borrowed sweatpants and a t-shirt that smelled faintly of lavender. My phone buzzed relentlessly. Texts, emails, notifications piling up like debris from a shipwreck. Olivia's viral post was everywhere. A polished video clip of my ejection from her wedding, captioned, "Jealousy can't touch our perfect day." Colleagues, clients, even distant cousins were chiming in, their messages a mix of pity and accusation. "Did you really try to crash?" one read. "What's going on, Emily?" another demanded. My reputation, meticulously built over years, was unraveling faster than I could blink. Rachel handed me a mug of chamomile tea, her eyes fierce with loyalty. "You don't owe them an explanation," she said, sitting beside me, "but you need to protect yourself. This isn't just family drama. It's a calculated attack." Her words echoed the unease I'd felt since the wedding. The hacked laptop, the tampered brakes, the man watching me by the fountain. Laura's coded note in the website. "Keep EC out. LC's orders," burned in my mind. My mother hadn't just excluded me. She'd orchestrated a public crucifixion. And Olivia, my sister, had played her part with a smile. I opened my laptop, pulling up the video. There I was, flanked by security, my face a mask of shock as Laura sneered, "You're not family. Stop embarrassing us." Olivia's laughter in the background was a blade, sharp and deliberate. The comments were brutal. What kind of sister does this? She's unhinged. No wonder they didn't want her there. Each one chipped away at the confidence I'd fought so hard to build. Rachel grabbed my hand. "Turn it off, Emily. You're not that person. They're lying to protect their image." But the lies were spreading. A text from my assistant, Mia, popped up. "Client meeting tomorrow. Client's furious about the social media mess, says it's unprofessional. Be ready." Vanessa Klein, my firm's CEO, was a dragon who breathed fire at the slightest misstep. The $5 million 0 cents campaign I'd been prepping for a luxury watch brand was now at risk, and with it, my career. I felt the walls closing in, my family's betrayal bleeding into every corner of my life. "I can't lose my job," I whispered, my voice cracking. "It's all I have left." Rachel's jaw tightened. "Then fight, but not alone. You need help, Emily. Professional help. I booked you with Dr. Claire Thompson, a trauma specialist, tomorrow afternoon. And we're getting you out of here. This apartment's too exposed." I frowned, remembering the man by the fountain. Exposed? Rachel hesitated, then pulled out her phone, showing me a blurry photo she'd snapped as we left the estate. There he was, the same dark jacketed figure, now standing by a black SUV, watching us drive away. My stomach lurched. "Who is he?" I asked. Rachel shook her head. "I don't know, but you're not safe until we figure it out." That night, sleep was a stranger. I lay in Rachel's guest room, the hum of Oakland's streets a faint pulse beneath my racing thoughts. Laura's text arrived at 3 a.m., her words dripping with manipulation. "You've ruined Olivia's day, Emily. Apologize, and we can move past this. Don't make me take further steps." Further steps? The phrase was a threat, veiled but unmistakable. I deleted it, but the fear lingered. What was she capable of? And why did it feel like this was just the beginning? Morning brought a new kind of chaos. I woke to find a note slipped under Rachel's door, handwritten in jagged scrawl, "Stop digging or you'll regret it." My hands trembled as I showed it to Rachel. "We're calling the police," she said, her voice firm. But when the officer arrived, a tired man named Detective Ruiz, his skepticism was palpable. "No fingerprints, no cameras in this building," he said, tucking the note into an evidence bag. "Could be a prank. You've got a lot of attention on you right now." "Miss Carter." I wanted to scream. This wasn't a prank. It was a warning. Tied to the brakes, the hack, the man in the jacket. But without proof, I was just a woman unraveling in the wake of a viral scandal. Rachel drove me to San Francisco for my client meeting, her escuaire Swiss against the world. The city's fog clung to the Golden Gate Bridge, a gray shroud that matched my mood. At the firm, Vanessa Klein waited in the boardroom, her eyes like daggers. The client, a Swiss watch executive named Henri Dubois, sat beside her, his expression unreadable. "Emily," Vanessa began, her voice clipped, "your personal drama is costing us credibility. Henri's concerned about your stability. Convince him you're still the right person for this campaign." I took a breath, channeling years of pitching under pressure. "Mr. Dubois, my work speaks for itself. Our campaign increased your brand's market share by 15% last quarter. The wedding incident was a family matter, not a reflection of my professionalism." I slid my portfolio across the table, highlighting my latest designs, sleek, innovative, undeniable. Andre nodded slowly, but Vanessa wasn't appeased. "We'll discuss internally," she said. "Don't let this happen again." As I left the room, Mia whispered, "The team's buzzing. Some VPs want you out, saying you're a liability." A boardroom coup was brewing, and I was the target. Dr. Claire Thompson's office was a stark contrast to the corporate battlefield. A warm space with sage green walls and a leather armchair that felt like a hug. Claire, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a direct gaze, wasted no time. "Tell me why you're here, Emily." The dam broke. I poured out everything. The wedding, Laura's betrayal, Olivia's cruelty, the hacked laptop, the tampered brakes, the note. I told her about Dad, how his death at 15 left me adrift, how Laura's favoritism turned me into a ghost in my own family. I thought if I worked hard enough, made myself useful, they'd love me, I said, tears burning my eyes. But they used me and threw me away. Claire leaned forward, her voice steady. "What you're describing is a narcissistic family dynamic. Laura cast Olivia as the golden child, the extension of her own ambitions, and you as the scapegoat, the one to absorb blame and neglect. It's not about your worth, it's about their limitations." I nodded, the words sinking in. "So why does it feel like my fault?" I asked, my voice small. "Because you've internalized their narrative since childhood," Claire said. "Your brain learned love was conditional. Unlearning that takes time, but it starts with recognizing the truth. You didn't deserve this." Her words were a lifeline, but danger wasn't far behind. That evening, back at Rachel's, I found my office had been vandalized. Mia called, her voice shaking. "Someone broke in, Emily. Your portfolio, years of work. It's shredded. The police are here, but it's a mess. I raced to the firm, my heart pounding. The office was a war zone. Files torn, monitors smashed, my awards shattered. Detective Ruiz was there, his notepad out. Looks targeted, he said. Any enemies? I thought of Laura's further steps, the man in the jacket, Nathan's powerful family. My mother, I said, the words tasting like poison. She's trying to destroy me. Ruiz raised an eyebrow. That's a serious accusation. Got proof? I didn't, but the truth was clawing at me. This was no coincidence. At Rachel's, I dug through my old belongings, desperate for something to ground me. In a box of Dad's things, I found a letter, his handwriting a ghost from the past. My dearest Emily, your vision is your power. Never let anyone dim it. You're stronger than you know. Love, Dad. I traced the words, tears falling. He'd seen me, loved me, believed in me. That was a truth Laura couldn't erase. But the letter wasn't all I found. Tucked inside was a journal page, cryptic and unfinished. Trust fund for E. Hidden from L. Lawyer J. Harper. A trust fund. Hidden from Laura? My mind raced. Was this why she'd pushed me out? To keep me from something Dad left me? The discovery fueled my resolve. I drafted an email to Laura and Olivia, my fingers trembling with rage. Your actions at the wedding were unforgivable. I gave you my talent, my time, my heart, and you humiliated me to protect your image. I demand 6 months of no contact. If you defame me further, I'll pursue legal action. This isn't a request. It's a boundary. I hit send, my heart pounding. Within hours, Laura's response arrived. A cease and desist letter from a high-pounded attorney, falsely claiming I'd stolen $20,000, 0 cents in wedding funds. The audacity was staggering. Olivia's text followed. You're pathetic, Emily, always making it about you. I blocked them both, my hands shaking, but the legal threat loomed like a storm cloud. Hiring a lawyer drained my savings. Rachel recommended a friend, Sarah Nguyen, who took my case on a payment plan. This is harassment, Sarah said, reviewing the cease and desist. We'll countersue for defamation, but it's a fight. Laura's connected, Nathan's family even more so. The stakes were dizzying. Bankruptcy was a real risk, but backing down meant letting Laura win. I couldn't do that, not after everything. Danger escalated at a networking event in San Francisco's Mission District. I'd gone to rebuild my reputation, pitching my work to potential clients. As I stepped into an alley for air, a man grabbed me, his grip iron. Drop the drama, or you're done, he hissed, his breath sour. I froze, recognizing the jacket, the same man from the wedding. He shoved me against the wall, his knife glinting in the streetlight. Panic surged, but instinct kicked in. I kneed him, breaking free, and ran, my pulse roaring. I flagged a cab, trembling as I called Ruiz. Attempted assault, I gasped. It's connected to my family. Ruiz promised to investigate, but his tone was weary. You're making a lot of enemies, Ms. Carter. Back at Rachel's, I couldn't shake the fear. The knife, the note, the brakes. They were pieces of a puzzle, and Laura was at the center. But why? Was it just her need to control, or was there more? Like Dad's trust fund? Rachel pushed me to move. You're not safe here. San Francisco's got better security, better opportunities. Start fresh. She was right. I found a loft in Soma, a vibrant neighborhood of artists and techies. The move was a lifeline, a chance to rebuild away from Monterey's ghosts. The loft's high ceilings and brick walls felt like a canvas for a new life. But the shadows followed me. Work became my refuge. I channeled my pain into campaigns, each design bolder, rawer, more honest. My latest project, a rebrand for a sustainable fashion line, won industry praise, with Adweek calling it a masterclass in emotional storytelling. But the boardroom coup loomed. 2 VPs, allies of Vanessa Klein, were rallying to oust me, whispering that my family scandal made me a liability. I spent late nights strategizing with Mia and a few loyal colleagues, building a case to keep my position. "You're the best we've got," Mia said. "They're just scared of your talent." Her faith kept me going, but the pressure was relentless. Amid the chaos, a new light emerged. At a gallery opening, I met Liam Harper, a documentary filmmaker with warm eyes and a quiet intensity. He'd seen my work in Adweek and struck up a conversation about creative process. "Your designs feel alive," he said, handing me my dropped sketchbook. "They tell a story most people are afraid to touch." His sincerity disarmed me, a contrast to the games my family played. We talked for hours, and when he asked to see me again, I said yes, my heart daring to hope. But hope was fragile. Digging deeper, I uncovered a motive for Laura's cruelty. A colleague with ties to Nathan's family let slip that the Brookses disapproved of my bohemian career, seeing it as a stain on their polished image. Laura, desperate to secure their favor, had erased me from the wedding to prove her loyalty. The revelation stung, but it wasn't the whole story. Rumors swirled that Laura had misused wedding funds, funneling money into her charity to impress Monterey's elite. Was she framing me to cover her tracks? The thought was chilling. Olivia's call came out of nowhere. I was in my loft, sketching, when her name flashed on my phone. My instinct was to ignore it, but curiosity won. "Emily," she said, her voice strained. "I need to talk." She sounded broken, confessing that Nathan was cheating, his late nights a cover for affairs. Laura, true to form, dismissed her pain, urging her to be grateful for Nathan's wealth. "Mom's obsessed with appearances," Olivia said, tears in her voice. "I didn't understand what you meant in your email about deserving better. I think I do now." I listened, guarded but empathetic. "I'm sorry you're hurting," I said, "but I can't fix this for you. You need to find your own way." When she suggested coffee, I agreed, choosing a public cafe in the Embarcadero. Trust was a luxury I couldn't afford. The meeting was tense, a dance of caution and regret. Olivia looked worn, her usual polish dulled. We stuck to safe topics. Her event planning job, my new agency plans, childhood memories of Dad. As we parted, she mentioned Thanksgiving. "Mom's hosting as always. Nathan and his parents will be there. Would you come?" I'd prepared for this. "I'm hosting my own Thanksgiving," I said. "You're welcome to join, but it'll be different. Real, not performative." Her eyes widened, but she didn't commit. The exchange felt like a step, small but significant. Laura's reaction was predictable. Her email arrived days later, a mix of condescension and guilt. "I'm glad you girls are moving past this nonsense, but your rebellion's gone far enough. Be mature, Emily." I saw through her now, her need to control, her fear of losing her grip. I replied briefly, "I'm glad Olivia and I talked. I wish you well. No apologies, no concessions." Liam, reading over my shoulder, smiled. "You're different now. Stronger." He was right. The Emily who'd begged for Laura's approval was gone. Thanksgiving was a revelation. My loft buzzed with laughter. Rachel and her partner Liam, Mia, colleagues, neighbors. We cooked too much, argued over board games, and shared stories that felt like family. Not once did I perform or shrink myself. Liam squeezed my hand under the table, his presence a quiet anchor. Olivia sent a bottle of wine with a note, "Happy Thanksgiving, maybe next year." It wasn't reconciliation, but it was something. The final twist came in December. Sorting through Dad's journal, I found another clue. A name. J. Harper-esque. And a phone number. Harper, Liam's last name. Was it coincidence? Or had Dad known his family? I called the number, my heart racing. A gruff voice answered. Jonathan Harper, a retired lawyer. David Carter was my client, he said. He set up a trust fund for you, Emily, worth $500,000, 0 cents. Laura fought to control it, but David made it ironclad. You can access it now. I nearly dropped the phone. $500,000? Hidden all these years? Laura's betrayal took on new weight. Had she pushed me out to keep me from this? An anonymous email arrived that night, containing bank records showing Laura's charity had siphoned wedding funds. The sender's address was untraceable, but a note read, "You're not alone. Keep fighting." Who was this ally? And what did they know? As I stared at the records, Liam at my side, I felt a surge of purpose. Laura's lies, Nathan's influence, the attacks. They hadn't broken me, they'd forged me. I stood at my loft's window, San Francisco's lights a mirror to my resolve. The wedding had been my breaking point, but it was also my beginning. I'd built a family of choice, a career on my terms, a life that didn't need Laura's approval. The dangers, stalkers, vandals, lawsuits had tested me, but I was still here, stronger, fiercer. The trust fund, the anonymous ally, the secret still buried, they were battles for another day. For now, I was Emily Carter, and I was enough. The world would see it, whether my family did or not.